Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things I've learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And I brought some of my meditation books home from my office the other day. I had like 3 or 4 just sitting on my desk that I used to like pull and just read when I was in there writing or doing whatever. And so I brought some of them home, and when my mom passed away, somebody gave me this book, and it's such a fantastic meditation book. It's so small and it's so little, and the meditations are always very, very short, if you can see. And they're just very simply stated, and I love that. And the book is called Daily Affirmations for Forgiving and Moving On. Powerful Inspiration for Personal Change by T.N. Dayton, PhD. And T.N. Dayton has written a lot of meditation books. So on the back of it, it says, Daily Affirmations for Forgiving and Moving On. What does it cost us in terms of happiness and well-being to hang on to blame and hurt? There comes a point in recovery when we need to move past our pain, resentment, and grief, and recognize which attitudes will help us through our lives and which need to be let go of. Forgiving and moving on assists the emerging self, offering hope, strength, and inspiration along the way. And it's one of my favorite meditation books, but I very rarely go to it. I don't know why. And I think it's because I just don't see it. Like, my other meditation books are always sitting out. You know, I have them all over that. I have one in the kitchen. I have one in the bathroom. You know what I mean? Like, I always have them sitting out. And it's funny because, like, Alex will pick one up and read one, and I won't know that he's read it, and we'll be sitting, like, at dinner, and he'll say, oh, like, I was thinking about this today. I'm like, you read the meditation? He's like, yeah. And my friend Tanya, she also has several of the same ones that I do. She has a Codependent No More one, because Codependent No More is one of our favorite books together. And so she has a meditation book that's yellow that goes along with it. And we'll sometimes talk about the meditation of the day because we both read them. So I usually start my day every day, you know, doing positive affirmations, reading meditation books, doing my prayers for the day, and things like that. And it's a way for me to get balanced and getting centered. And if you think it's hocus pocus, I think that's fine. You know, I believe that everybody has a right to their own spiritual journey, or lack thereof. And I believe, okay, personally, that, and this comes from a recovery point of view, that spirituality does not have to be of some higher power. It can be of the soul, it can be the wind, it can be the earth, it can be anything, you know? So to some degree, and I know people will disagree with me on this one, you know, even atheism to some degree can be a spiritual belief. If you believe that learning experiences, you know, you take from life what you want to learn from it and things like that. Now, I don't personally relate to that because I do believe that I have a higher power. But when I got sober, if somebody had come to me and was Bible thumping and all that kind of stuff, I would have not heard it. So it was very important for me when I got sober that I was in an environment where people said, you know, you can pick the attributes of your own higher power. And I know that sounds hokey to a lot of people, but it makes sense to me today. And the weird thing about that, and I've talked a lot about this on my vlog, is that I have no negative experiences spiritually growing up. You know, I grew up going to a church. I went to a rather liberal Lutheran church. The sermons were beautiful. They were based on current events. I went to Sunday school. I was confirmed in the church. I don't have any negative experiences with the church. It just never resonated with me. I never really got anything out of it. And when I was in high school, I've talked about this on my vlog as well, you know, and I would be with students and they would say things about, you know, that what they had learned. And I did not go to a religious high school. I went to a public high school. But they would say things, you know, like, oh, I learned this in church and I believe this. And I'm like, they're so phony. Like, they don't really believe this, you know? Until I went through my own spiritual journey and I started picking up things. And that's why I talk a lot about love, compassion, forgiveness, kindness, tolerance. Because those are attributes that I really believe in, that I believe can, you know, coexist. I love the whole coexist bumper sticker. That can coexist within all world religions, or lack thereof. And I don't, you know, follow any one belief or religion. I like to pick up things along the way. And there's a lot of things to me that are, you know, from Christianity to Buddhism to Hinduism to Native American wisdom, that are very, very heartfelt to me, that I really believe in. And the overwhelming theme to all of it is this idea of compassion, love, kindness, forgiveness, you know, and those are the things that I choose to follow today. And when I get up in the mornings and, you know, I'm speaking to my higher power and I'm reading meditations and I'm reading, you know, the books that help me with all of that, it really, really helps me kind of stay centered and stay focused on those ideas. And that's why I do focus so much on this channel on reading the meditation books. And whether you're a religious person or a spiritual person or not, I believe anybody can gain from this. And so when it says in the meditation books, recovery, these are not just for people in recovery. These are for anybody. So today I want to read you this meditation. It's actually from yesterday. It's from August 31st, and it's called Calming Down. I can let myself calm down when I am upset. When I am stirred up inside and my emotions are very agitated, life looks different to me than when I am not. When I was growing up, I repressed my feelings because I had nowhere to go with them. Because that was true yesterday, it does not mean that today I have to overreact to each and every feeling I have so as not to fall into the same trap. When I am wrought up inside, it is okay to let myself just calm down and relax and know that when I have done this, things will look different. Rash action happens when I can't stay with and feel my feelings. The actual experience of feeling makes me so uncomfortable that I act out. I can let myself calm down. Often the test of courage is not to die, but to live. Conte Vittorio Alfiero. And I think that the whole idea of that is so profound to me recently. And I talked about this at length in my vlog the other day. I think it was last night or the night before. I was talking about how, there was, a time, like I grew up in chaos and toxicity, having an alcoholic mother. And a part of that chaos and toxicity was the lack thereof as well, because I never knew what I was walking into. I never knew if I was walking into, Little House on the Prairie and meatloaf for dinner and sitting at the kitchen table and exchanging our day and being tucked in at night and having a story read to me, or if I was going to walk into my mother passed out at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I never, and that very rarely happened, honestly, but I never knew, I never knew if she was going to be screaming and shouting by 10 o'clock at night because she had drank too much, or she and my aunt had gotten into a fight, or her and my dad had gotten into a fight. I never knew what I was walking into. And as I grew up into an adult, in my high school years and when I was in college and my drinking and drugging became extremely strong, I was, bringing that same chaos and toxicity into other people's lives. There was a long period of my sobriety where I had a lot of people around me in sobriety, okay? I mean, just because you're sober doesn't mean that you don't have any toxicity, or that you don't have any negativity. I mean, a lot of people that are sober have a lot of negativity and toxicity around them. I did for a long time. I was a very negative person, and I've talked about this at length on here, that just because I was sober and I wasn't engaged in any substances didn't mean I had any emotional sobriety. I had no emotional sobriety. And what that means is that I had no spiritual foundation. I wasn't, programmed to think in a positive way. I still saw the glass as half empty instead of half full in almost everything that I looked at. Every boyfriend I was with, I didn't trust. It was just, I just always, everything was negative, 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 negative. And I think it was like our second or third year together, Alex and I, he said to me, I asked him what he wanted for Christmas that year, and he said, I want to wake up every day next year with you smiling. And I took this picture of myself smiling, and he still has it up next to his bed upstairs. And I really worked on it. I really worked on changing my attitudes and being more positive. And what I know today is that when things happen to me, because things are going to continue to happen to me, shit is going to happen in my life, tragedy and woe is going to inflict me in my life at some point, but I have a choice in how I respond to that today. Not react, I've talked about that on here, but how I respond. Recently, I'd say in the last 3 or 4 years, I have rid my life of toxicity and negativity. I don't have some of the same people in my life that bring that in. Do I miss them? Yes, because they weren't always toxic and negative, but many times they were. If I could still have them in my life on a level where they weren't, they would be there. But it's hard to have people in your life that every time you talk to them, it's just like, God, it's like, it's a burden, it's a duty, it's like depressing, you know what I mean? And I've had conversations with them where I've said, listen, I used to be negative too, and they just don't change. They don't change. And, I've tried so hard. And so what I've had to do over time is distance myself from these people. And I know that to some people that sounds mean, but the reality is, my life is important to me today. My peace of mind, my serenity, I value it, okay? I am so protective over peace of mind and calm in my life today that I try very, very hard to not allow toxicity and negativity in my life. And when I see it there, I do whatever I can to stay calm and ask myself, okay, Peter, What are you supposed to be learning from this experience? Is there anything that you can take from this experience? Are you maybe bringing it on? Are you maybe toxic and negative right now in a way that you didn't see it? Like, do you need to take a look at your own behaviors? Because often we're mirrors for other people, or other people are mirrors for us. So if I'm seeing somebody else being negative, I need to take a look at myself and say, does it start with you? And, you know, now I look at my life and I don't have a lot of toxicity. I don't have a lot of negativity, you know, and I trust the people in my life. And it feels better. The calm in my life, the peace of mind is unimaginable. And the one thing I want to say to you is this. If you're sitting here and you're watching this video and you're like, yeah, I have some toxic people in my life, but the peace and the serenity it doesn't really mean that much to me. I didn't know how much I valued it until I realized that I hadn't had it. And what I mean by that is, I was so used to like having friend groups that, you know, if there was 4 of us, one person would leave and we'd all talk about that 4th person. And that was okay because that's what friend groups do, you know, like that's what we would say. And I do think that that's true to some degree, you know, but, you know, or, you know, we talk behind people. It's very much the Real Housewives kind of attitude. I don't want to live in that today, you know, I don't feel good walking away from that. And, you know, we were out to dinner with another couple, I would say like 6 months ago, and we left and I said to Alex, I said, and it was a couple that we very rarely see. And I said, I just don't feel good having that same kind of conversation anymore. I said, I just don't enjoy it, you know? And he was like, yeah, I don't either. And I don't know why I even had to go there, you know? Like, that was what we were questioning. Like, we were having such a great conversation, and all of a sudden it took a turn talking about somebody else in a very negative fashion. And I said, I'm not willing to engage in that anymore. I mean, I can control me. I can control my part of that. I can control my staying calm, my being peaceful. I don't have to engage in that. And I can say, you know, I don't think this is a very nice conversation. Let's talk about something else. And, you know, I think that we have a lot of control over how we react, staying calm, you know, and protecting the peace of mind and the serenity in our lives. I try so hard to do that on a daily basis, and I suggest, because it's really worked for me, that you do the same. And over time, what you'll realize is that peace of mind is so important. It really, really is. It helps us think clearer, it makes us more creative, and it makes us enjoy life just a little bit more. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.